Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back on another video from Totally Not Mark. We are continuing with the Hunter x Hunter reviews. Don't worry, the One Piece review reactions are coming. I have to read it. And I'm not rushing through it. I want to enjoy it. But yeah, we are checking out the Zoldyck family and Heaven's Arena arc. And the Heaven's Arena arc, which is that's sick. Zoldyck family bit was really cool, where they're gonna get Killua from his family again. You learn about how epic they are, the whole family of assassins and stuff, and then the Heaven's Arena arc is just like, where they introduced the Nen system. Whoa, let's get into it. That was amazing, but yeah.
Great pronunciation on gum. He'll never learn pronunciation, will he? No, he's Team Gon, not the correct Team Gon.
Oh my god. No, Mark, no. I call him Gon.
Okay, so apparently I'm saying the name wrong. So one way to figure
Look, Scott from Team 4 Star, it's amazing.
Let's go. G-O-N, Gon. There she is.
Gon.
Ayame! You're Japanese, right? Yeah. Which means you speak Japanese, right? I think so. Okay.
Okay.
You know Hunter x Hunter. You've seen the show. Yeah. What's the main character's name?
Gon.
Alright, so whatever. And this week I'm covering some crazy material.
Oh, the Hisoka bit.
Review of the first arc of this story, and in it I uncovered some subtle indications of an emotional maturity and attention to detail that gained my praise
Killua.
early on. But did the story in these more recent arcs let me down, or did they continue the trend in an upwards direction? Find out today as I explore the two short but powerful arcs that build upon the first in crazy and surprising ways. Welcome back, everyone, to my blind review of one of the shonen genre's
Oh, the butler
modern
with the
greats.
coins.
This is Hunter x Hunter's Zoldyck family and Heaven's Arena arcs.
Zoldyck. Oh, mate, the Butler family was so cool. I forgot about how epic they were. Fair enough. Elevator lady.
That we left the last arc with was one of horror, mystery, and pursuit. Having spent a considerable amount of time struggling to attain their respective hunter licenses,
Yay, they got it. Unlimited monies.
With Killua, it didn't feel like a moment of celebration, but instead one of great loss and shock.
Yeah, his bro is weird.
In his journey to acquire it, he made a lifelong friend group wherein each member cared tremendously for each other.
It's still weird seeing the animation from the older version.
Sat on his own fishing. The fact he has all of these people to fall back on must mean a great deal to him.
Hell yeah.
When he grabbed Illumi's arm to reprimand him, there must have been, much like the small animal in Chapter 1, a great deal of self-projection.
Still can't get over that. That's how the manga is like. Oh my god.
So no matter what, he can't let Killua believe he doesn't have a companion in
It's like, no,
someone that truly
he
cares,
can't feel
no
it
matter
out.
the circumstances. And these are pretty dire circumstances if you think about it. Take a character like Luffy, Goku, or even any of the JoJos really, and plug them into this setting with this information. While I'm sure they would be able to see the nuance of the situation and eventually understand that Killua was traumatized by his family, they would in some shape or form care that he killed someone. But Gong never even mentions it. While the person Killua wasn't a noteworthy character by any stretch of the imagination,
One of the greatest filler sequences in the 99 version.
as a man with a noble disposition, stating that he specifically wouldn't hurt or fight a child out of principle, and in the end, it was a child that killed him.
Oh,
stabbed
okay.
him in the back. But no matter what, Gong is determined to be there for Killua, which is exactly where we find ourselves heading on this adventure. I mentioned
Gon's moral compass is a little bit,
sides of the same coin.
there is an interesting video out there covering it.
Different sides of the spectrum. Through Gong's conversation and actions across the first arc, it's been made explicitly clear that he doesn't see value in himself due to a deep sense of inadequacy brought on potentially by abandonment issues.
Yeah, like he's trying to find his dad. He's like, why are you leaving me?
Due to his family's relentless desire to be in his life. Both Gon and Killua feel like they are on a shared journey exploring different aspects of the family theme on different sides of the spectrum. In other words, they're sort of opposites, demonstrating perhaps what sort of toll toxic or neglectful family dynamics can have on a child. And if you believe it, this is sort of communicated visually too. Just by looking at these characters, you can tell that they are similar, but also kind of the opposite. However, you would
White and black hair.
in the manga. In it, Gong and Killua are both the same age, gender, and height, but while Gong has tall, black, spiky hair, Killua's hair is styled down and is white.
My god, I was right.
During the section
All over it.
in the battle arena arena, which specifically focuses on their relationship and adventure together, Killua is further in contrast with Gon by wearing a black top while Gon isn't filled in, and therefore appears white. So in addition to Togashi's choices serving to differentiate the characters for easy reading, they subtly communicate this aspect also through the visuals.
Interesting. I like that. Okay, cool. I'll give you that.
And Leorio now make their way to Killua's family home. A world of hurt was once again waiting for the young boy with the spiky hair.
Oh,
Zoldyck
yeah.
Family arc. This arc is remarkably short, and with it only being 5 chapters long, I wasn't exactly expecting much from it, and in a way,
You get a bit.
correct. But that's not to say interesting stuff doesn't happen within this yet unknown material. Within its chapter 39 opening, what first
I feel like there's bits that happen in this which are important for later. Like certain moments happen, and it wouldn't make sense if we didn't have this.
As they approach Killua's intimidating mountain home looming over the horizon, this panel captures each respective character perfectly as they react to the sight of said mountain. Kurapika looking ahead wants to make a plan. Leorio, looking for security, wants to locate a place to stay first, and Gon just wants to see
a friend.
Remove the character artwork in this panel and still know quite easily
Who's talking.
Stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this
it's
isn't
class.
flashy or praised very often, but in my opinion, these are fundamentals that do most of the heavy lifting when it comes to
You know the
character
characters. It's
writing.
great.
Everything they say is informed by who they are and not by what makes the plot more interesting.
Yeah.
Which, by default, makes each of these characters that much more interesting. I mean, as they approach the foot of the mountain after coming to a halt when faced by the walls surrounding it, we're told the rules on how to get through and the consequences of jumping over. Normally, this would result in a rebellious streak or excitement building in the main character, who might want to test his new abilities against these obstacles up ahead. Lord knows that formula works for
Hell
other series,
yes.
but not Gon. That's not who he
Love
is.
the music.
In fact, he has no interest in being tested whatsoever. He's there to see his
Friend, and that's
If
it.
makes him
So if
an
that's what he has to do, then that's what he has to
so
do.
be it. It's incredibly
Yeah.
strong character writing that once again tears down the facade of this shonen world with reality and genuine reason, which are honestly what I've come to recognize as Hunter x Hunter's greatest strengths. And again, similarly to the sea captain that pointed him in the right direction early in the first arc, this jaded perimeter guard in a similar fashion is impressed by Gon and decides to allow him to try and make contact with the family using his phone. Notice how everything is being informed by the character. It's like, in order to highlight the qualities of Gon's personality, Togashi places him in standard shonen situations and lets the contrast do all the talking. You guys were expecting a fight here? Well, how about a reasonable argument and a
Over the phone. Let's go.
And oddly enough, this sort of
Hello,
interaction
hello.
makes me that
How
much
you
more
doing?
invested because I now understand that I am watching a character and not a plot device. However, after hearing a not-so-nice response from one of the butlers, Gon is forced to reconsider his next course of action. If he barges his way in, he risks the lives of his friends and places the security guard in a position where he might meet harm also. And when faced by those facts, he decides the only course of action is to play ball and compete in
Do
these
it.
challenges.
Right,
The first
yeah.
being able to push open the giant stone doors. If they can do that, then they earn the right to advance onward without putting anyone in unnecessary danger. Obviously, they get through it in the end, but what I found interesting during this section wasn't necessarily the overcoming of the challenges, but instead the rapid healing process that Gon undergoes. Remember, this is a kid that had his arm broken by
Yep.
Hanzo at the end of the last arc. How did he heal it so fast? There's definitely something to this, as this won't be the only time this healing ability is admonished by Gon in this video. And it's just as well for him that he healed up all nice and everything, because now they are proceeding to the
Yes.
challenge. This scene
These
is
are
honestly
class,
pretty
man.
hard to watch. The only thing Gon wants to do is to meet his friend Killua, who he fears is being manipulated and hurt right now. He refuses to yield to anything that says that
Ooh, don't cross that line.
he believes to be a simple request, and in pursuit of this end, he ends up being beaten alive by this apprentice girl by the name of Canary. I will say, however, that after being shown the 1999 and 2011 anime adaptations of this scene, the 2011 versions sort of let the side down in this instance, in my opinion.
Oh.
The purpose behind this scene is to demonstrate the unyielding force of Gon versus the trained, immovable object in Canary. And to minimize the degree of suffering Gon absorbs to see his friend diminishes the impact this scene is designed in both the 1999 anime and the original manga to have. Furthermore, on the censorship front, the scene is meant to show a level of abuse and conflict in Canary's mind as she struggles to continue under the weight of her own conscience.
Right.
This scene looks great great in the manga and great once again in the 1999 version, but in 2011's anime, because they don't really want to show blood or that much gore, it looks comparatively lesser, particularly compared to how impactful this sudden attack on Canary hits in the other versions of the story. Something that I obviously like about Gon is how emotionally aware he is of other people and the consequences his actions might bring onto those individuals. For the same reason he didn't press the issue with the security guard, he doesn't cause further harm to come to the apprentice. And yet, he doesn't seem to have any regard for his own well-being or safety in this scene also, which perfectly reflects his negative sense of self-worth illuminated in the prior arc during the conversation with Kurapika. But all of that aside, this mini-arc sort of felt strange and off-balance, and I mean that in the best way possible. I was very much excited.
Because Killer's like, I can just get out, you know, you're just messing about, I've been tortured years. And yeah, when he talks to his dad, I was like, what? Seems cool.
Gets to go free. Now, there's one more scene that follows this before they ultimately leave, and it's this coin trick performed by the butlers. Gon is surprisingly great at it, and looking back at the scene now, I think this was clearly a test to see just how proficient these kids were in a particular technique. Something called Nen gets brought up later, but now I'll just say I think that played a role here, and overall it was a cute and fun scene that killed some time before Killua showed up, and that's pretty.
He's like, hey guys, so what happened? Oh, we had a whole story arc. Really? Yeah, it wasn't that long, but it was quite fun. Cool, let's go to the next one. Yeah, when he explains how it works, yeah. The coin trick.
And I hope it continues in that direction as we dive into Heaven's Arena arc.
This bit's so good, the Hisoka fight. Ah! Elevator lady!
Of the two arcs I'll be exploring today, the Heaven's Arena portion is clearly explored in greater detail. It's an arc with a beginning and an end.
It's a shonen. It has to have a tournament arc.
Half of the cast, Kurapika and Leorio, as mentioned in the earlier arcs, have goals and aspirations of their own. So this entire arc is centrally focused around Gon and Killua.
Yep.
But this isn't goodbye forever. Instead, it's a see you later of sorts.
It definitely is a see you later. My god, the York New arc. Oh!
Gon wants to eventually rematch Hisoka to give him back the ID he took, and so in the meantime, Gon and Killua are faced with a dilemma: how to train and get money for food and shelter. And as it happens to be the case, Killua is familiar with something called Heaven's Arena.
Hell yeah! What the?
Once again, this section is predicated on a simple challenge-type concept. The goal is to get to the top of the Heavens Arena. With each passing floor, the higher one goes, the more difficult the competition
the stronger the
gets.
competition.
And in addition to that, the higher they get, the more money they ultimately stand to win. In theory, they have 6 months to train and prepare for York New City, and this is where they'll do it. And once again, the choice that they make to spend their time here and participate in the Tower Challenge over the coming months stems from Killua and Gon respectively. Through small dialogue exchanges, we learn that Killua was left here as a 6-year-old child and tasked with reaching the 200th floor before he could return home. With that small piece of information, we get a brief glimpse into Killua's past, as well as a short-term goal for us as an audience to shoot for, as everything from the 200th floor and above will be entirely new to Killua, and
we have no idea.
So, in a nutshell, this arc is pretty much chronicling Gon and Killua's time and journey in climbing the levels of this building through intense physical competition. And it is great. Now, naturally, the introductory bouts
God is
battle arena and us as an audience to get a feel for how powerful our two protagonists are when pitted against the other contestants of the Heavens Arena. And in these opening matches, Togashi makes use of a rudimentary but ultimately effective visual trick, pitting a small character against a confident, bigger bully type
always
character.
works.
It's
great.
Reminiscent of old school Dragon Ball with Goku in the various tournaments he participated in as a child, and the satisfaction of these scenes comes specifically from these cocky brutes getting.
They're like, I'm gonna beat you up, little one, and he's like, nah, one hit, out, bam.
It's also funny watching Gon and Killua get immediately advised to go to the 50th level already after only one bout. Now, Killua was technically advised to go higher, but I like how he decided to stick around.
No, he's staying with Gon.
Yeah. It's around this time also in the story we meet a competent but young martial artist.
Oh, I feel so bad for him.
I love Japan, period.
And after he demonstrates a technique that scared Killua half to death, our two protagonists end up meeting with his master called Wing. Now, before I move on, I feel like I need to apologize apologize in advance. As someone that grew up as a teen in the late 2000s and early
Oh, no.
2010s, South Park was about as popular as it ever had been.
Yeah.
And in a particular episode, there was this old Chinese woman that gets beaten unconscious in a boxing match while singing a lovely song. Now, this poor woman is also called Wing, and so whenever I heard this guy's name uttered in the story, I couldn't help but automatically think of
No.
from South Park
No.
brutalized in the face.
No.
There's no greater point I'm trying to make here other than to help you all realize and understand what was going through my mind whenever this person's name was
That's
uttered.
so
So let's move on.
random.
Thanks to Zushi and Wing, I became aware of a particular mechanic in this world
Nen.
called Nen. It's this universe's magic system, and I love it. Not
It's
just because
class.
of its inherent awesomeness, which I want to talk about in a second, but also because it provides greater explanation
As to
what
why.
happened in the forest with Hisoka and Gon, the fight between Illumi and Killua in the
Yeah.
previous arc, and even earlier in this video when Killua's mother made herself known and launched an attack. It helps to explain all of this quite
It's like
well.
what's
and
actually been
somewhat
going on.
Interestingly, this gave me pause for thought.
Well, that's cool.
Obviously, Killua has been here
Did
before,
Hisoka do that in the
and our
2011
characters
version? I don't think he
on
did.
that fact. But when he was here last, he was working under orders from his father to reach the 200th floor and then come home. Now that we've been familiarized with this arc, we understand that Nen is a key component to all of the fights pretty much from the 200th floor and above, and we know that Illumi utilized that power too. So I ask, why has Killua not only never used Nen, but also never seen it or
yeah.
heard of it prior to this very meeting with Wing? It seems like something his father or family would have taught or exposed to him at some point given their knowledge of it. And this lack of knowledge leads the two boys to, once they qualify for the 200th floor, to run into some trouble.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Ah. Hello, boys.
So, this lovely and not at all suspiciously flirtatious or creepy toward children killer clown man, little kid lover, is sitting there putting up a force
That's
field
funny.
of
Me and my
sorts
girlfriend are
with
watching The
kids,
Office
and
recently.
this is
That's
somewhat
brilliant.
disconcerting because they need to register before midnight for the 200th floor, otherwise they lose
So
their
they need
place.
to get
And
past
so
this
they seek
Hisoka.
out Wing once again to help them master one of the 4 fundamentals of Nen to make their way past him to register.
It's knowing what
After which
type
Gon finally
that
gets
you
a
are,
taste
though,
of
isn't
what
it, as
the
well?
200th floor's competition looks like. They all use Nen, and even though Gon demonstrates great promise in his opening bout, managing to even
Ultra instinct. Do 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 do.
So, time to get back to the drawing board. And on this drawing board, I think it's time for me to finally talk about Nen, because it's honestly one of the more complicated and brilliant power systems I've come across. Power systems in anime offer a lot of upsides. The scale of the battles gets larger, making them more cinematic.
Ooh, that
and
guy
helps
wasn't in the,
individualize a particular series in a sea of other
most
popular,
up-to-date
more derivative works.
anime.
What's One Piece without Devil Fruits? What's Dragon Ball without ki
Yeah.
manipulation? Could you imagine the Dragon Ball series without the Kamehameha or the Super Saiyan
Not
transformations?
at all.
Probably not.
Well, I
because
can
that
imagine Dragon Ball Z
system is a
without Super Saiyan because we had a
fundamental
couple of
part
we had a whole season
However,
before that. But
with
yeah.
those upsides potentially come negatives and drawbacks. Dragon Ball's power system famously
Can you
runs
im-
into issues
Yeah,
with power creep, as our main characters go from training on a beach with an old man to literally training with the gods themselves.
Yeah, they're shaking the
And that's
universe,
all down
man,
to
with
the
a
structure of
fist
the
bump.
system we're talking about right now. It most definitely has its benefits, but it's important to also acknowledge its shortcomings. Nen, however, seems to have an appreciably different approach than many other power systems I've seen.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't think I've come across any that match it
It's
perfectly.
there's
Whether
so
that's
many
good or a bad thing
possibilities
is
with
still
it.
up in the air, but time will most definitely tell. From an aesthetics or visual standpoint,
Whoa,
it's
he
sort
looks
of
loads
like
different.
JoJo's Stans meets Dragon Ball's Ki. If you don't use Nen, you can't see Nen, much like Stans in JoJo,
Yeah.
and the auras, particularly in the manga, look distinctly Dragon Ball. However, mechanically, they are very different. And this, to be honest, I'm really excited to see explored further. This
Yeah,
power
man.
system is
Oh,
sort of
just
like
wait till the
a
camera attack.
variation on what I recognize as Avatar: The Last Airbender's bending system for the Avatar state, and maybe even One Piece's Devil Fruit system to some degree. Though obviously Hunter x Hunter came before Avatar. Similarly to Avatar, each person seems to fall under a neat category, but unlike Avatar, anyone can learn the other types available to them.
Right.
Sort of. Nen seems to
Nen's-
also work on a chart system
you-
wherein the closer one's natural Nen type is to another type,
It dictates what ones you're going to be better with.
alongside his current original one, particularly compared to the ones farther away on the chart. In Avatar, Aang seemed to have similar issues. Being an airbender, he was able to master water and fire much easier than his natural opposite in earthbending, which required significantly more work.
Right.
And from my understanding, for the most part, shares in that same principle. The chart looks like this and includes Nen types like
Yeah,
Enhancer,
so like the further
Transmuter,
away you are
Conjurer,
from what
etc.,
you're
they each
naturally
offer different approaches
attuned to,
Nen,
the
and
harder it
that's
is to
honestly great getting plenty of variety.
control
Speaking
that.
as
Am I
someone that's
right?
only
I
just
think.
met this power system, mechanically, I think it's super interesting, and I can't fault it right now. In many respects, I think it's better than Avatar's system because
I like how this is. I like how it's played out so that Leora and Kurapika are also sent on their own little way to learn Nen as well. It's all like a set out plan.
Or even Dragon Ball, which all have easily understood and intuitive power systems, Nen has a larger learning curve. While
Yeah.
it makes sense and can
It's
be
not completely
understood,
straightforward,
I
but
don't
you do
think
get what's going on.
Personality traits associated with each various type can be understood as easily as water is the opposite of fire in Avatar or Pokemon. In Hunter x Hunter, these traits are things one must learn through exposure to the property, and in reading the latter material of this arc, I found myself having to refer back to the Nen chart numerous times in order to
Yeah.
make sense of or to figure out where one Nen user was in relation to
To the
another.
other, yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
to me, it's not obvious that the opposite of transmuter is manipulator. Now, I'm not suggesting that this is an absolute negative, as it may very well lead me to being more easily surprised later on down the line as characters experiment with Nen further and further outside of their comfort zones, but I will say that there's a reason why Dragon Ball's Ki, Avatar's Bending, and One Piece's Devil
I can't
Fruits
wait
are so
to see what he
ubiquitous
says
and
for
are in pop
the
culture
whole
today,
Gon
and
thing
why I've
with
never heard of Nen prior to the making of these videos. And honestly, I think that's a shame
Pito?
because I sincerely think
The
this
cattle
system has so
lady
much more
bloke
to
thing?
offer than I can fully appreciate at this moment in time. Which
Is
made
it?
super
Yeah.
obvious given the fights that unfold after Gon and Killua proceed with their training under
Oh,
Wings.
it's so cool.
Wing? Now, that's not to say that the story doesn't go to considerable lengths to help communicate the basic concept of Nen to us, apart from Wing schooling us in the four basic tenets of Ten, Hatsu, Ren, and Zetsu. We're also shown how most of each of these play into various fights. Zushi's initial fight with Killua on the 50th floor demonstrated Ren. Gito's first fight with
Yeah.
Gon demonstrates an application of Nen in various forms, and Gon's second fight with him, after Gon's training, demonstrated the whole in Gito's strategy while also informing us that an emotional attachment to an object strengthens the Nen of that object. It became very interesting because I just know there's a sad story behind that fishing rod now, and okay, hold it together, Mark. Primarily, this second fight served to highlight a hole in Gito's strategy.
Well, it's mainly so that when Kurapika does what he does in the Yorkno arc, it's like, oh, it makes sense. Oh, this fight. Oh,
Castro was demonstrated early on to be a powerful Nen
Yes.
user, but in the end failed to defeat Hisoka because he required a lot of energy to pull off this ambitious and effective, but ultimately ill-matched technique to his Nen type.
Oh, yeah, he
Because
makes a
Castro's
clone,
Nen
doesn't he?
type wasn't naturally effective in learning this skill. The level of focus and energy required to pull it off became Castro's downfall. All the while, Hisoka manages to make himself look even more intimidating and terrifying, unfazed by his arm's dismemberment. I loved this fight in the manga, and
So weird.
unfortunately, I learned that in the 1999 anime adaptation, it pretty much cuts it all out.
Really?
With a few short highlights of it left included. Now, this may or may not have played a role in this, but I did notice during my reading that a viewer survey was conducted during this section, and Killua was seen as the clear fan favorite, with Gon being in third place. I
Oh.
find this interesting because instead of keeping the entire Hisoka and Castro fight like the manga and the 2011 anime did, the 1999 anime adaptation decided to add a filler fight with Killua.
Oh,
instead.
right, okay.
Now, I have no idea if this was censorship or a want to include Killua or something else entirely. I just wish they didn't cut it. With that said, though, I do want to draw attention to a piece of filler in the 1999 anime that I absolutely adored.
Interesting.
While going up and down the various levels of the Heavens Arena, both Gon and Killua encounter this woman operating the elevator.
You said you were gonna stop.
She's a very minor character in the manga, but in the anime, she's the vehicle for some terrific comedic moments, with her last encounter with the boys being particularly hilarious.
Oh. Elevator Girl's atomic bomb attack. Whoa.
That aside, I think possibly the coolest reveal from this arc for me was one of these two things. Hisoka's spider tattoo being revealed after his fight with Castro being the first, the fact that this man now is tied not only to Gon, but also Kurapika definitely piqued my interest. But the most fun revelation of this arc has to be that the Nen training was all part of their hunter training. In
Yep.
other words, the hunter exams were still sort of
Ongoing, yeah.
It's really cool to hear how others are getting on, and it
Yeah,
makes
because
a lot of
Leorio,
sense that the
Kurapika,
universe
they
is
both have
sort
that
of
own thing going on.
to familiarize ourselves with in this section. But even with that said, if I was living in this world. I don't think I could trust anyone.
No, it's like, wait a minute, is it really over? 20 years later. Oh, I still
at the climax of this
just...
Hisoka versus Gon.
Oh my god, let's go.
These characters' respective journeys in this series thus far have been somewhat intertwined. Gon seems to be both scared and motivated by Hisoka's looming presence, and Hisoka is interested in Gon. And with visuals like these, I'm not sure what that means, nor do I think I want to know. But anyways, this fight spans 3 entire chapters, and for the most part is all action.
It's so good. It's so good.
Fantastic, and the action flows incredibly well. Ease of deciphering and reading through a particular page is what I look for the most, and these chapters concerning this fight absolutely deliver on that premise. Additionally, for my benefit, I was shown both the 1999 and the 2011 version of this fight too. Funnily enough, one thing that was pointed out to me was how weird the sound effects towards the start of the 1999's version of the fight were. I mean, check it out. Additionally, on this front, one of the driving narrative talking points after this fight concludes is that of the referee's judging. In the manga, it feels like maybe Gon gets something of a raw deal, but it's well within the realms of plausibility. But this is very different in the anime, because the anime needs to fill in the action segments to give the fight the appropriate pacing. And because of this, the flurry of strikes and attacks Gon ends up landing on Hisoka seem unmistakably dominant. I mean, there's one part of this fight where Gon lands dozens of hits and he barely gets any points for them. And so
oh, right, I see what you're saying, yeah.
It's possible the ref is acting in good faith, but in the anime, it sort of feels as though the ref has something out for this.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I never thought about that. Yeah, it's like points for hits, isn't it? And it's like, yeah.
With its storyboarding in certain sections impressing me the most. Whether it be the insane angles attempted or the water droplets flying through the air, these choices to convey this fight only serve to elevate it within its medium. With the commentator in the 1999 version clearly loving what she does, shown through some terrific character acting animation.
Amazing.
I loved this fight sequence. It's my favorite fight.
How far did the 1999 anime go then?
With our 2 heroes, Killua and Gon, now having completed their training, Gon the Enhancer and Killua the Transmuter, I am very excited to see.
I like that they end up using 2 different types of nen, like,
Overall, I thoroughly love these 2 short arcs of the story. I found the Zoldyck family arc to be the most emotionally rich, while I found Heaven's Arena to offer the most fun and entertainment.
There we go.
Not to mention lore concerning Nen. All of these story arcs seem to consistently admonish a strong sense of progression and fun, and now that we have York New City on the horizon, all the while both Gon and Killua are heading back to where the series began, I'm very excited to see what more comes from this amazing story. Next week will be my first video covering York New City, and I can only hope that I am ready for what's to come within that material. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you in York New City next week.
Mate, the Evans Arena arc was so boss. I absolutely friggin' loved it. Loved it. It was absolutely boss. The Zoldyck one, yeah, I didn't realize. I forgot how short it was. I binged Hunter x Hunter in one bloody big stint. But yeah, it was class. I'm enjoying these Hunter x Hunter reviews. I like checking these reviews out because it just refreshes my memory on everything. But I also like that he's doing the comparisons with the manga and that, you know, changes and that, and even with the 1999, I like how he's pointing out filler arcs a bit, because I thought that fight with Killua was just like, oh, that didn't happen, did it? But yeah, cool. Thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys next time.